Hello everyone, I'm Mariela Condorena and welcome to today's webinar. Before we started, we are going to remember something that you have to know. Please, you have to follow on our network on Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, Google site, and we have now new channels as Twitter and TikTok. Please follow us. And before we get started, I like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. Please first type your question in the comment section, okay? Don't forget that, please. The answer to your questions and comments will be replied by our guest speaker at the end of the webinar in the question time section. And when finishing the webinar, we will share a link for you to have access to the exit ticket, which will be available for 15 minutes. Remember that, please. Now it's time to know our guest speaker today. So, please, Miss Suli, Sulamita Chupten, can we help us with this? Could you introduce her, please?
Sure, thank you, Miss Mariela Condorena. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Now, it's a pleasure for me to introduce our guest speaker for today's webinar. This is Ana María Hurtado. Ana María Hurtado es docente universitaria, mentora y formadora de profesores con más de 30 años de experiencia. Ha sido gerente de proyectos educativos en inglés del British Council en Perú entre el 2016 y el año 2019. Es máster en desarrollo profesional por la Universidad Leeds Beckett. Es diplomada en educación por la Universidad de East Anglia del Reino Unido y profesora de inglés por la Universidad de Concepción de Chile. She's going to present us the webinar titled, How Can Teachers Support the Students' EFL Reading Development? In this webinar, we are going to answer 3 interesting questions. What range of skills can be used for effective reading? What activities can be used to practice these skills? What other techniques can we use for improving reading skills? Dear Anita, thank you for accepting the invitation of our community. Welcome, and the audience is all yours.
Hello, Anita, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, you can share your slides, your presentation.
Yeah. Okay. I want to speak to the audience before my presentation. Yes. Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Hello. Good evening or good afternoon in Peru. I am Ana María Hurtado. I am in Concepción, Chile in this moment, but I am Peruvian. I was born in Lima, and I want to thank. Want to give special thanks to the English Teachers Network in Peru for this opportunity to be in touch, to be again, yes, with the teachers in all the country in Peru, and I know that in some other countries too. Yes, and a special thanks to Mariela and the team she leads for their trust in what I can do to contribute to your professional development. Okay, but in spite of the distance, I want to feel that I am not alone, yes, but with you. And I'm going to ask to you to, to introduce yourselves. Yes, I am going to introduce myself by saying that my name is Ana María Hurtado. Yes, I'm going to write it in the chat box. I am Ana María. I am writing it on the chat box, right? And I'm going to use 3 nouns to define myself. Yes, I am going to write 3 nouns. The first going to be teacher, mother, and explorer. And I want you to do the same, okay? To tell us your name and to associate yourself or your name with 3 nouns, or if you want, you can use some adjectives if you want, okay? So this is your time to introduce yourselves in the chat box or the Facebook, okay? I'm waiting for your names. You're saying hello, hello Muriel, hello Soledad, Maritza, yes, hello, Marlene, Patricia, Sumi, Esteban, yes, and Tirsa Villarreal, Gles, Mirka. And now it's time to introduce yourselves. Yes, Silvia, Gloria, Ruth, to introduce yourselves, saying your name and 3 nouns that you associate with you. Okay, great. Angela Huanca, mother. Yes. Thank you, Angela. Mom, partner, dreamer. Thank you, Angela. Yes. Elizabeth from Ecuador. Yes. Oh, yes. Felix says he's very curious and funny. Yes, Felix, curious and funny. Marco, intelligence, wisdom, attitude. Great, great. And we have Monica Ortiz just saying that she's a teacher, blessed, and mother. Erlinda, mother, intelligent. Silvia, teacher, reader, dreamer. That's great. And Carmen, optimistic person. Yes, there is always a way out. Yes. Danny, mom, funny. Cecilia, another dreamer. Yes. Connie is another dreamer. Yes. All right, great. A traveler is Muriel. Muriel is a traveler. Evelyn is a friend. Yes. Helen, cute. Maria, Enriqueta, she's a curious person. Lisa, she's a daughter and a friend. Right, Loli's homeschool family. Those are the important things for her. Sulamita says she's a dreamer, also an explorer, enthusiastic about everything. Yes, optimistic, creative people, lovers, workers. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your participation. Yes, we are. Yes, there's an English teacher for Sur Cubamba and Huancavelica. Great, great. Lovely to know that we are in touch. It doesn't matter how far away we are a community. And this is what we're going to focus on the community feeling that we have among ourselves, okay? And my topic, yes, as Sulamita and Mariela told you, is reading comprehension, okay? And what can we do to support our students' development of their reading comprehension skills? And I'm going to share some slides now, but during the presentation, you're going to view some classrooms, some teachers teaching and putting into practice the reading comprehension skills, all right? And associated with that, the activities, how they are used to develop these skills, and also some techniques, okay? Skills, activities, and techniques, tips, okay? So what is the main aim of this presentation, of this meeting that we are having today? Yes, as said before, this is an invitation for us as a community to go along the Learning Yellow Brick Road as in the Wizard of Oz, yes? And we're going to look at some activities, look at teachers teaching, yes, with these skills, presenting activities and techniques according to our aims. So come away with me, yes, as the song says, and we're going to start with this. Okay, and I have to start 2 questions for you, yes, to make you focus on our topic. And these are the 2 questions. Can you see them? The first one is try to remember what you have read today. Okay, it could be a timetable, it could be the newspaper, online, it could be whatever you have read today. And please think about the skills that you used to read that. Okay, and for example, today I read the news, yes, and I'm going to write it in the chat box of Facebook, and I used, yes, skimming. Okay, so I use this skill because I read just the headlines for general idea what was going on in Peru and also in Chile. Okay, news and skimming. Right, great. So some of you are writing. For example, Janela read an article. Yes, Debbie, a memo and a memoir. Interesting. And Marco Antonio used skimming. Silvia read the newspaper and used some scanning, specific information. The same with Rosa Flores Palomino, and yes, Pequeña Maggi used skimming, yes. Marlene read the news, yes. Charles Pariachi read for gist, for general, yes, for the nucleus, the main idea. Many of you have used skimming today for general ideas only, okay? Mass media, yes, says Class. The news, says Diana. Right, a graphic book, says Erika Manrique. Yes, and many of you have used skimming, and some of you scanning, but there's Genara Tavara, Valladolid, who has read a book, a fiction book, called Sherlock Holmes, and she used extensive reading, which is something different. Great, thank you very much. Those are the skills that we have practiced today. So we're activating what we already know about skills like skimming, scanning, extensive reading. There could be intensive reading too. Now, the question is, or the issue is that what we read, yes, and how we read calls for different kinds of skills, okay? We don't read in the same way if we are reading a fiction book like Sherlock Holmes, yes, for pleasure maybe, yes, and extensive reading. The part of our brain that is comes into action when we read extensively and for pleasure is so different as when we read the news, for example, yes, and for general idea of what is going on in our country, right? It's quite different if we read just the weather forecast, okay, and we find out the specific details of today's weather in our city. So how we read depends on our purpose. Yes, what is the purpose of our reading? Okay, what is the motivation that we have for reading? All right, now let me introduce 3 reading skills, right, that we use very often. And these are, right, on the left-hand side, we have 3 reading skills: inferring, skimming, and scanning, right? We have these 3 reading skills. Now, I want you to match the first one, inferring, with one of the definitions on the right. Yes, we have A, B, and C. Could you please match inferring with A, B, and C and write your answer on the chat box? So we're going to write number 1 is inferring, and we are going to write the letter, which is the definition for inferring. Could you write it? What is the letter for inferring? Number 1, letter. Number 2, letter A, B, or C. Number 3, letter A, B, or C. Please. Let's see. Yes, the answers are coming along. Great. Yes. Great. One C. Yes. 2B. Gloria Palta says 1C, 2B, and 3A. Great. You have the answers. As you said, yes. Number 1 is letter C, that is deciding how a writer feels about something from the way they write and not from the words they use. So there's something that we are reading between lines. Okay, that's inferring. The second one is skimming. And as you said here, as Lucila Payano says, number 2 is letter, skimming is letter B. Yes, you're right. Yes, reading a text quickly, yes, to just get the general idea, what is it about? Great. And number 3 is letter C. No, it's not letter C. Number 3 is letter, yes, letter A. Yes, letter A. Thank you, Sarai Otiniano Contreras. Yes, number 3 scanning is letter A, reading a text quickly to pick out a specific information. Great, you are the knowers. Yes, yes, this is it, really. We as teachers use these skills all the time. Yes, so for many of you, this will just remembering what you already know, what you already have seen, yes, and you already use. But let's try to look at some other skills too. Skills, activities, and techniques. Okay, so for our first video, we're going to see three extracts, yes, of videos. We're going to watch, yes. Let's say, yes, we're going to watch teachers in different continents, really. There's a teacher from Taiwan, another in Africa, Rwanda, another from Argentina, and we're going to see them in their actual classrooms, and they're developing reading skills. So our first classroom observation task will be, yes, you will see specific reading skills being practiced. The instructions are, put these 6 activities in the order that you see them, okay? So we have scanning, guessing the meaning of words, predicting, skimming, identifying the text type and the purpose for reading, and establishing the context for a reading text. Now, the teachers are going to teach according to these different activities. Now, you have to put them in order. Which comes first? If the first teacher is going to do skimming, you write number 1 in skimming, okay? And so on, right? Number 2, if the second teacher practices guessing meaning, you write number 2 in the guessing meaning alternative, all right? So now I'm going to stop the presentation so as to be able to watch our first video, okay? And I'm going to, yes, give me a second, please, so that I can share with you Yes. I'm going back to the meeting. Yes. Oh my God. I'm going to stop the share. Okay. Yes. I'm going to share the screen with optimized video clip sound. Yes. And I'm going to show to you the first video. Our first video is going to be here for you. Okay. Give me a second, please. Okay, here it is. Okay.
So, what might we read about today? Huh? Bonnie said the earth. Do you think we are, huh? The universe. The universe. 还有没有? Actually, we are going to learn about planet because we talk about gravity. What is gravity? What do you think the reading will be about? Some say the earth, Dennis say the universe, and he says some scientist who is very weak. 可以了哈，好，可是 we come to a conclusion that we might learn about planet, right?
Tell me very quickly what that shows you in the text. In the text, this figure 150, what does it show? Yes, Dylan? The number of friends. The number of friends, tell us. A human brain can mean. Okay. Who can read for us this figure? 130. Okay, what does it tell you in the text? In the text, what does it say? Stella? The average Facebook user has 130 friends. Is that correct? Is it? Do you agree with her? Yes. You do. Okay.
Now, tell me, there is a kind of text in which the writer of the text includes information about the film and his or her opinion about the film. What do you call that text? A what review? A film review, that's it. It's a film review, yes? And what do you call the person who writes the review? It's the review? No. It's a writer, the reviewer. Reviewer. Okay, the reviewer is the person who writes the review. Now, do you read reviews? No. Where is the microphone? Oh, okay, you see.
Maybe when I want to see a movie, but I'm not sure, I read a review.
Okay, and where do you find those reviews?
When you look at the picture, you will see that this is something we are going to read about in our lesson. So, what are these? What are these? Galaxy, 有人讲银河系, sky, and a lot of stars. So, the reading we are going to cover today is about space. Space means 外太空, and about our solar system. Solar system in Chinese means 太阳系. So, what are these? They are Mars, 火星, Venus, Earth. My very, very excellent mother just sent us 9 pizza. Did you get it? 所以距离顺序错，应该谁先？应该 Venus 先，然后跟 Mars 相反哦。好 ，OK， 哦 ，So 好 ，It's 好，那 You are the expert， 我不是哈，好。
When you look at this passage of ours, the text, there are those words that have been chosen from the text. Okay, can we have the meaning from the text, not the dictionary meaning, but the meaning of the word as it's used in the text? The first one is optimum. Maximum. She says maximum. Maximum. Do you have another answer? William says average. Do we agree with him? Is it an average? Class?
Normal range.
No more.
Range.
No more range.
Yeah, like ranging around there.
So that is the same as average?
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maximum estimated number.
A maximum estimated number, so that is maximum. Okay, so which answer are we taking? Maximum, okay? Okay, how do you arrive at this answer? How do you know that optimum means the maximum number of friends according to the text? Can you look for that word, trace the word in the text? William?
Here this shows that the optimum number of friends sheep that the human brain can maintain is about 150.
Is about
150.
150. So that shows you that. What does it show? What does it show according to the maximum number? Very good. So we take maximum. Okay?
Main idea. Get the main idea first, huh? Because I'm going to ask you the main idea, huh? After you do your discussion. Look for the keyword. Leave out the vocabulary you don't understand.
Okay. 1 minute, 1 minute. Right. I'm going to stop the share. Yes. Let's go back. Yes. Okay. To our presentation, because we're going to organize in order, right? The different activities that develop different skills in this. Okay, I'm going to open the presentation and we're going to check your answers. Okay, right. Could you write on the chat box, what is the order in which you have seen the different activities? Which is, the first activity is which one? Which one is the first activity? Okay, is it scanning, guessing, predicting, skimming, identifying text type, or establishing the context for reading text? Which is the first activity that you saw in the video? Remember? You saw one of the teachers doing an activity. Now, okay, Yaren Fiesta says that the first activity was predicting. Yes, it was the Taiwanese teacher. Yes, with predicting. What about number 2? The second activity, which one was the second activity that you saw in the videos? The second was The first was predicting, you're right. Yes, the second. Number 2. Yes, yes. Thank you, Lida, predicting. Yes. And yes, Gloria Panta says that the second one is scanning. Yes, the second was scanning. Yaren Fiesta says the same. Number 3, the third activity was, yes, identifying the text type. Thank you, Juana Delia Hernandez, identifying the text type. Okay, the activity number 4 was, yes, okay. Number 4, the teacher in the number 4 was, yes, okay, good. Thank you. Yes. Right. Now, I'm going to share with you, yes, the other answers, okay, in our screen. As you said, number 1, the first teacher from Taiwan was doing a prediction, yes, in the space, yes. She was predicting, showing a picture of the universe. Great. The second teacher was asking the students to scan, yes, some figures, yes, in the text. Yes, the third teacher was asking students to identify the text type, okay? The Argentinian teacher, yes, about the film review, that's right, the film review, yes. The fourth, yes, was, as Lizzie says, establishing, yes, the content for a reading text, that's right. Viviana Manzanero said the same. The fifth teacher was asking to guess the meaning of words from the context, not using dictionaries, yes, just from the context, so as to foster autonomy in our students. That was number 5, okay? And yes, the last teacher, yes, the Taiwanese teacher, what was the Taiwanese teacher doing? Yes, you're right, Jane Chirapo. Yes, the last one was skimming for the main ideas. Yes, and the students were working in the whole text to find the main ideas of the text. Thank you so much. Gloria Panta, yes, you have it too. Great, great. Tatiana Panaifo, yes, skimming, that's the last one. Great. So we have, yes, these reading skills, okay? Scanning, skimming, guessing meaning of words, establishing the content for a reading text. I am sure that you do and you practice in your classrooms these activities to develop the skills or the reading strategies in your students, okay? We're activating this knowledge that you already have. Okay, now we're going to watch another group of teachers. These are, some of them are teacher trainers. And yes, I'm going to stop the share. No, 1 minute. Yes. Yes, we're going to watch, yes, another group of teachers. Yes, but this time they are going to share with us their tips. Yes, their tips for teaching reading skills. So we are going to expand our repertoire of reading techniques, okay? And our second viewing classroom observation has another kind of task. This time, you have to complete these 8 sentences, yes, by listening carefully and watching these teachers sharing these tips, okay? Here, you have those 8 sentences in your worksheet. And if you don't have them, please take a picture with your mobile of this task and get ready to watch and to answer or to complete these 8 sentences, okay? We're going to watch then the second part, yes, of our video, okay? Right, let me share the second part of the video. Right, 1 minute. Yes, we have reading skills. Okay, here we are. Here we are. Let me share this with you. Share the screen, 1 minute. And here we are. Yes. Okay. Let's watch and complete these 8 sentences.
I think I will use a lot of so-called picture or video films to keep them motivated and to keep them focused, and to give students visual aids, I think helps a lot. Of course, I think in the learning object, it talks about teaching the students to predict, and I think that it won't be possible for students to know every word when they come to a new reading. So teaching the students how to predict and do the scheming for main idea is very important.
Getting the meaning from the context, meaning like when they read the text, to understand it, they need to have like what the context means. Number 2, they need to know some vocabularies. So their knowledge of vocabulary in terms of understanding the text is very important. And thirdly, their skimming and scanning kind of skills, so that like if the question is to look for like the gist of that text, they need to have that skill. And if they need the kind of general information about the text, so how can they find it? So skimming and scanning kind of skills.
And also I think when it comes to vocabulary, they do need to know lots of vocabulary to deal with the text, but they also need to know that they don't need to know the meaning of the words. They can use the context. They can use certain sub-skills to be able to make sense of the whole text.
For example, for my students, the 8th graders, it's of course very challenging for them to understand the word called predict, scan, or scheme, or even main idea. So I need to give a further explanation in the first language when I teach those skills.
Okay. Right. Great. I'm going to stop this share. Yes. Right. And yes, now we're going to check. Okay, now we're going to check, go back to our PowerPoint presentation to check our answers. Going to share the screen so that we can check, yes, our answers. That's right. Okay, you have already been answering in the chat box. Yes, for number 1, yes, we have use of visual aids, yes, to establish the context and generate interest in our students. Yes, we can use visual aids, we can use films, we can use different kinds of visual aids or pictures or films, so that the students can be motivated. This is a pre-reading activity, so you have to arouse their interest in reading, actually. Okay. Yes. The second is teach learners to. The letter P stands for Karin Mariela Melendez says predict. Lizzie says the same. Okay. Yes, you're right. To predict the content, the text content. That was number 2. Yes. Right. The students were punctuating. There's the picture from one that shows figures. Number 3, teach learners to, Lizzie says, teach learners to skim the text for main ideas. You're right. You're right. Skimming the text for the Lucila, Erlinda, skimming for main ideas. Thank you. Number 4, teach learners to, Erlinda Limaco says, scan. Scan, yes, for specific details. Scan for specific details. Great. Teach learners to understand the meaning from the context. Yes. Yes, the meaning from the context. Yes, good, good. Let's go to the next. Number 6, pre-teach, Viviana Manzanero says, vocabulary. Yes, we do that all the time, I'm sure. We pre-teach some vocabulary that we know our students will find difficult and will be an obstacle to understand, yes, the message of our reading. Then in number 7, yes, we have pre-teach vocabulary 6, number 7, help learners to understand that they don't need to know the meaning of every, number 7, what could it be? Yes, of every, Angela, Wanka, every word in the text. You're right. Yes. The learners don't need to know the meaning of every word in the text. Yes, yes, just the same as what we read in our mother tongue. We don't need to walk in dictionaries and know all the words, but we can get the main message and work out, yes, the meaning of some words because of the context. And finally, number 8, yes, we can give learners explanation about reading terminology. Reading terminology. Yes, we can train them and make them aware, yes, to be good readers, that make them aware that they are not reading everything in the same way. Reading is a very complex cognitive activity. Yes, that's right. They need to know that sometimes they can read fast, yes, for general ideas, or sometimes they can activate previous knowledge and can predict what is going to happen in the reading text, okay? So all these activities, yes, can help our learners to become successful readers and to enjoy reading in a second language. Great. Yes, thank you, Rosemary Piña, terminology. You're right. Great. Okay, that was our second video. Yes, our second video. Yes, and in case anybody didn't complete all the text, yes, we have here the tips. Yes, the tips for teaching reading skills. Okay, now we have, first we have reading strategies or reading skills, yes, that we saw, which are the more general concepts that we are dealing with today. Okay, skimming, scanning, predicting, inferring, complex, yes, cognitive processes that we activate when reading. Okay, first of all, these strategies or skills. But then we have the actual activities that we do in class. Okay, we use visual aids, we ask students to infer meanings, yes, from the context, we ask them to answer questions. Those are the activities, second level. But in a third level, we also have some tips. Okay, now we're going to focus on our reading skills. Yes, on this screen, you have them on the left-hand side. Yes, and we're going to watch a third yes, video with specific activities, yes, in one class. We're not going to watch different teachers this time. We're going to watch one lesson with pre-reading activities, while reading activities, okay? And we're going to write on the right-hand side which are the activities that are used, that are connected to the reading skill on the left. Okay, so we have 5 different reading skills. Okay, we have the first one, establishing the context of the reading text. Okay, the second is predicting, the third is skimming, fourth is scanning, and fifth is guessing the meaning of vocabulary. If you don't have the worksheet with you, you can take a picture, yes, a photograph of this screen, of this slide, and then you can watch and write on the right the activity that develops that reading skill on the left. Are we ready? Okay. So now we're going to watch another video, and this time we're going to watch a teacher called from Rwanda. This teacher from Rwanda is going to share with us her classroom. She's also going to open the doors of her classroom for us to see the different skills and the different activities with which these skills are developed. Let's get ready.
In this lesson, the students are going to look at a short article about the social networking sites Facebook and Twitter.
Today we are going to look at something new and very interesting. Okay, the first one is here.
The teacher starts the lesson by showing students the Facebook logo and asking questions.
Okay, have you ever seen this? Yes. Have you ever seen this? Yes. Okay, where have you seen it? Where have you seen this? Yes, tell us. You've seen it on, or what is it to you? It is? Maya, tell us. It is a social network. Very good.
This generates interest and starts students thinking about the theme of the reading task to come.
What social network is that? Facebook. That is a logo for Facebook. Very good. What do people do on Facebook? They chat. They make friends. Very good. Okay, what other social network do you know? Yes, tell Jen. Google? Yes. Twitter? Very good. Okay, that brings us to another social network, Twitter, okay? Very good. These are social networks. So what do people do on these social networks? They communicate. Okay.
First of all, students do a short punctuation task using a sentence from the reading text.
Okay, look at the sentence now, the way it is structured, and think about the context. Do you understand the meaning of context?
Now the teacher uses the sentence to encourage students to predict the content of the text.
What do you think the passage is? That sentence, by the way, is from the passage which we are going to read. Sorry, we are going to read something, something that has this sentence in it. What do you think it's about? What do you think the text is about? Try to talk to your neighbor. Try to talk to your friend, okay? And then come up with an idea.
If students predict some of the contents of a text before reading it, they can then read to check if their predictions are correct. This gives them a purpose for reading. This kind of purpose is motivating for students because it has been generated by them. They have produced the predictions themselves.
Okay, fine class. I think you've got the idea of what the text is about, okay? So what do you think it's about?
I think it's like it talks about a woman or girls and social life on the internet.
It talks about someone's social life on
social network.
Someone's social life on social network. Okay, now I'm going to give you copies of the texts, and I want you to read through and see if you really got the right answer. Okay?
Now the teacher asks students to read through the text quickly to check their predictions.
Send to your friends.
She uses this task to encourage the students to skim the text, to read it quickly to get the main ideas. The skimming activity introduces students to the article and helps them gain a sense of what it's about, without putting them under pressure to read and understand the whole text in one go.
Okay, read through quickly. I want you to get a general picture, okay? A general picture of the text very quickly, and tell us whether you got the right answers or not.
When students approach the text in stages, it makes the task more manageable and therefore more motivating.
I hope you're through. Are you through? Okay, now you can turn your texts over, okay? Put them upside down like this. And turn to your neighbor. Find out what the text is about. Talk to your neighbor and see if you really got the right idea about the text. Okay? Turn it upside down. Talk to your friend. You're supposed to discuss with her, then you discuss with her, okay? Are you through with the discussion? Okay, class. Enough. I think you've now got your ideas right, okay? Not so? Attention, please. Do you have the right answers? Did you find the answers correct? Let me hear from Joshua.
It was about this woman who started her social life on Facebook, and when the maximum number of friends reached, she turned on to Twitter, where she had something like 56,000, including the Prime Minister's wife. And her last tweet was about how she was going for lunch.
How she was?
Going for lunch.
Okay, thank you very much.
In the next stage, students read the text again, this time scanning for details. The teacher writes numbers on the board and asks students to find their significance in the text.
Tell me very quickly what that shows you in the text. In the text, this figure 150, what does it show? Yes, Dylan?
This activity encourages students to scan the text for specific information, allowing them to gain more in-depth understanding of the topic.
Okay. Who can read for us this figure? 130. Okay, what does it tell you in the text? In the text, what does it say? Stella? The average Facebook user has 130 friends. Is that correct? Is it? Do you agree with her? Yes. You do. Okay. Yes, what is the maximum number of friends permitted on Facebook? Someone tell us very quickly. Yes? 5,000. Is it 5,000? Very good. Okay, class. Another question. Where is Evie been from? Where is Evie been from? Maya?
She's from Bradford in the north of England.
Yes. Do you agree with her? Yes. And another third question. When did Evie Bean die? Let me hear one person. One person. Yes, you want to tell us?
In July 2010.
July 2010. So you're going to work with your friend.
In the last stage, the students are encouraged to deduce meaning from context. The teacher gives the learners a worksheet with questions about the text content and the meaning of some vocabulary items. The students read the text again to answer the questions. No dictionaries are allowed. They must answer the questions and guess the meaning of the unfamiliar vocabulary from the other words and sentences that surround it.
You're free to discuss with your friend. This should guide you to get what you think followed. Read clearly. You fine? Okay, now let's go to the question. Question A. Can someone read for us? Noella, read for us the first question.
It says, what does the writer mean by the rule of?
What does the...
Okay, I'm going to stop this share. Yes, and we are going to check the answers, yes, together, right? Let me share the screen with you. That's right. Okay. Okay, you can see now that we could see that the whole, a good part of the class really, in which reading is developed. And we can see that these 5 reading skills were developed in different ways. And you have been answering this in the chat box of Facebook. So we're going to present the answers here on the screen, okay? So the first reading skill was establishing the context of the reading text, okay? The teacher, for this sake, uses the visual images of the logos of Facebook, yes, Twitter, yes, and yes, motivates the students to and makes them focus their attention on what the text is going to be about, okay? So, first reading skill, establishing the context and the corresponding activity, visual images, okay? Second reading skill is predicting the content.
Turn to your neighbor, find out what the text is about. Talk to your...
Predicting the content, okay? The second and the activity is the one in which the learners write the punctuation of a sentence that has been taken from the text, okay? And then use that sentence to predict the text content. No, it's only a sentence. So these two are pre-reading activities, okay? The students do not have the complete reading text yet. They are activating previous knowledge, just that, okay? So with one sentence, they can predict what the text is going to be about, okay? And they say it's going to be about social media, yes. Okay, that's the third. The third reading skill is skimming, 4 main ideas. Yes, and the activity is learners skim the text to check if their predictions from the previous stage are correct. Yes, they skim the text and check. Yes. Now, notice something. The teacher asks the students to compare their answers before he checks with the whole class. And yes, that's more collaborative, as you, yes, stated here in the chat box. Yes, fostering collaboration. Then scanning for specific details. How is this developed? Well, in this stage, the teacher writes some figures and numbers on the board and asks the students to scan the text and to find what is the significance of that specific numbers, okay? What is, for example, the number of friends that you can have on Facebook, for example, okay? And then number 5 is guessing the meaning of vocabulary from the context. And in this case, the teacher asks the students questions about the meaning of some text vocabulary. They don't use any dictionary here, so they must infer or deduce the meaning of the words from the context, okay? So these are the 5 reading skills, yes, which are more abstract reading skills, and how they are present in the classroom through activities that the teacher prepares and organizes and conducts in the classroom, okay? Reading skills, activities. All right. Here is a wide range of activities that you can use when you are teaching reading in your classrooms, which is something that we do all the time. But there are some things that I want to say before we finish. What do we teach? What kind of text do we choose? We can have a lot of texts in our coursework. Which ones are we going to choose? Why do we choose these texts, and how do we teach? What activity do we choose to practice in each stage of the classroom? The pre-reading, while reading, post-reading. You are the teacher and you are the expert. You know your students, you know your coursebook, yes? You know the reading strategies, the activities, and the different techniques that you can use in your classroom. And you know the amount of support that your student needs in each stage of the reading class, okay? You know that they respond well to visual aids, for example, and then you can find the kind of support with visual aids that are more motivating. Also, you know the motivation that the students need, yes, to read, and how you can also evoke enjoyment, the enjoyment of reading, okay? And most teachers of language, we love reading. So we can transmit this love of reading to our classroom. We cannot give anything that we don't have ourselves. So what I encourage you is to develop this empowering skill of reading in your students, okay? Using the techniques and the tips and the different activities that you can develop, yes, as you teach, and I also recommend you to, I will be really happy if you, when you finish this session, you go to your course books or books of methodology, like Jeremy Harmer's How to Teach English, like Jim Scrivener's, like Penny Earth, yes, the favorite course book, yes, of ELT methodology, and find, yes, what happens with each of these skills, why we use them. So the widest your repertoire of skills, of activities and techniques, the more you can cater for the needs of your students, and the more knowledgeable you are to be able to make the right decision in the right moment of your class, and to be able to cater for your students' needs, motivation. Okay, and this is the end of my presentation. And I want to say that this very, very motivating material can be found in the British Council teachingenglish.org.uk website. And here are some other sources that I have used today. The TKT course book, yes, modules 1, 2, and 3 is very also a very good support for us as teachers. And I recommend to use that too for to expand your repertoire of skills and activities and techniques. And this is my participation. Again, thank you very much for your trust, for inviting me to share these moments and to be able to contribute to our professional development. Thank you very much, Mariela and Tim. And this is the end of my participation. We are going to have a round of questions,
yes,
I
we
guess.
have to answer some
Yes.
questions, dear Anita. Thank you so much for this outstanding presentation. We are going to begin answering the questions submitted during today's presentation. Ms. Salazar, can you read the questions for Miss Ana María Hurtado, please?
Sí, ¿cómo están? ¿Qué tal? Buenas noches. Hello, hello there. Good evening. Thank you so much for everything you told us today. It was an amazing presentation. I really loved every second of it. And the first question that I have here is from Miss Viviana Macedo, whose question is, how can we teach to read in English to a student who doesn't fully speak Spanish and it's starting learning to read and write in Spanish too?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I understand, Viviana, that you mean that you are teaching Spanish as a second language, yes, to an adult student. Yes, that's right. Okay, well, you know your student, yes? You have to be able to know what your student will need to read, okay? Does your student need to read the news, timetables, advertisements? So use the material that your student needs to read, okay? According to the material, you have to decide the tasks, okay? If it's a job advertisement on the newspaper, maybe you can focus on specific bits of information, yes, so that your student can focus on these bits of information, like qualifications, like experience, years of experience, right? Like what are the requirements for the job, okay? So depending on your student, you must choose the kind of text according to the needs of your student. And according to the text, you must also plan for pre-reading activities, while reading activities, and post-reading activities. Okay, first a bit to generate the motivation, then to while reading to be able to identify the information that is needed. And post maybe comment, yes, on or an answer. A very good activity is to do a writing activity after a reading activity. Yes.
Thank you so much. I have a question here too. Do you think it's useful for the students to read aloud?
Yeah, this is something that, yes, many teachers avoid doing. Yes, reading aloud, because it's very slow. Yes, the students reading aloud, the other students get bored. Yes, and it's a long reading, definitely not. But if it's, for example, an interview in which there should be some kind of interaction, why not? Okay, if you ask students who can read what they've done, can make the text come to life. Yes, if it's an interview, okay, for example. So it's not completely ruled out, according to my experience. It depends, okay?
Okay, thank you so much. I have another question here. About setting up an extensive reading program. What do you think about this, and how do you think we can develop this activity, because it takes like a long time and sometimes our students are not really engaged to every story that we might provide?
Yes. Okay, extensive reading is excellent, really, okay? But sometimes the tasks associated with extensive reading are so exhausting, are so demotivating, that the teachers, the students actually are not enjoying extensive reading. And extensive reading normally in real life, when you read a novel, yes, when you read a story, it's because you're going to enjoy it. So I would recommend to look for activities that are not the usual question, answer, but something different, like choose an episode from the story and maybe acting it out, okay, for the whole class. Or maybe choosing a dialogue, yes, presented it in the classroom, okay? Or using the technology better, because we have the technology at hand. If your students have the technology, yes, also to use the technology to do a presentation, yes, with I don't know, the main episodes of the story, yes, especially with visual aids, okay, with pictures, with motivating material. So the important thing is not to kill the motivation with the task, okay? The tasks, we need to use our creativity so as to not to kill the enjoyment of the extensive reading. That is something that I would recommend.
Thank you so much. I think they are all the questions. I really appreciate all what you did for us today. And I want to invite you to stay with us for a little bit more so we can do the other parts of today's webinar. Thank you so much again. And Miss Mariela, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Okay, now it's time to share our exit ticket, dear Angelita. Okay, teacher, please be careful with this. You have to write, you have to type this link. Por favor, para todos, queridos teachers, recordemos que debemos de tipear o copiar en el navegador el link tal como está. En el caso de las mayúsculas y minúsculas es muy importante para que lo reconozca y para que puedan ingresar al formulario de registro de asistencia. En el exit ticket, además, van a encontrar algunas preguntas, 3 preguntas exactamente, relacionadas al webinar, al excelente webinar que hemos tenido hoy día con Miss Ana María Hurtado. Es importante que al menos la mayoría de preguntas estén bien respondidas. Yo sé que hemos estado muy atentos, hemos aprendido nuevas cosas hoy día. Esto va a favorecer nuestra formación profesional. Es importante, es uno de los skills que es más en este trabajo a distancia, como Aprendo en Casa, para los que trabajamos en instituciones públicas. Creo que es uno de los skills que más estamos explotando. Si es que nos damos cuenta, estamos basados en todas las las fichas de Aprendo en Casa en el input que se nos da a través del reading. Entonces, muy importante establecer y reconocer todos los soft skills de esta competencia tan importante dentro del área de inglés. Bien, aquí tenemos por 15 minutos el exit ticket. Ya saben, siempre inicia igual, https, // el cut también es igual, t.ly/. Lo que siempre varía es lo que tenemos al final, ETiP, que saben que son las siglas de nuestra comunidad, English Teachers in Peru. Recuerden que la I es minúscula. 6, que es el número de nuestro webinar. Este es el 6º webinar que estamos dando hasta el momento. Bien, se está fijando también, ya está fijado en los comentarios por si acaso también el exit ticket, así que atentos ahí para poderlo completar, por favor. Pasamos entonces a continuación, querida Angelita, a conocer los ponentes de la próxima semana. ¿Qué tenemos para la próxima semana? Miss Mayrita, Miss Diana, perdón, Miss Mayra y Miss Kim deben estar por ahí. A ver. Sí, estamos por ahí.
Miss,
Yes.
here, I'm here.
Okay, great. Please share this invitation.
Okay, good evening, everybody. You are invited for our next free webinar with Kevin Laura de la Cruz with the topic, Let's Plan Our Classes with Nearpod on Friday, July 2nd from 7 to 8 p.m. Continue, Miss.
Yes, please.
Okay. Also, you are invited for our next free webinar with Enrique Liñán with the topic Demystifying Language Function in English Language Teaching on Saturday, July 3rd from 6 to 8 p.m. So we will transmission in our Facebook page and we wait for you. Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, Miss Mayra. Yes, of course. Bien, ahora sí tenemos para el día viernes, aclaramos la transmisión de los webinars digitales que vamos a tener. Se hacen a través de nuestro canal en YouTube. Va a estar con nosotros Kevin compartiendo mucho sobre Nearpod, que es una herramienta tecnológica excelente para todos los maestros. La vamos a conocer, muy productiva. Y el día sábado, que son nuestros webinars de metodología de la enseñanza del inglés, va a estar con nosotros el reconocidísimo Enrique Liñán, tratando uno de los skills muy importante. Y espero que todos ustedes estén presentes para la próxima semana. Bien, ahora sí llegó el momento de despedirnos, no sin antes recordar a todo el equipo administrativo que está detrás de toda la organización de estos webinars, que esperamos, como siempre, fortalezcan esa capacitación que debemos de tener todos los teachers, todos los maestros, nuestra formación profesional. Bien, aquí tienen a todo el equipo, somos alrededor de más de 20 maestros de diferentes partes del país que estamos unidos con una sola misión, que es la de compartir con todos ustedes y aprender juntos. Bien, ahora sí podemos encender las camaritas. Querida Anita, espero que no te hayas ido todavía. Encendemos las camaritas. Yes, está por ahí. Y vamos a despedirnos el día de hoy de este excelente webinar. Querida Anita, muchísimas gracias por haber aceptado la invitación, por haber compartido el día de hoy este webinar con nosotros. Anita, quisiera mencionarlo, dado que es la primera vez que la tenemos en la comunidad compartiendo. Es una persona profesional muy especial para mí. Es una de las personas que me ha inspirado a ser lo que soy hoy en día. Hemos compartido experiencias lindas juntas y realmente ha sido parte de uno de los sueños que he podido lograr, y esa inspiración sigue hasta el día de hoy. Esto ha sido a través del programa Champion Teachers, en donde ella ha estado liderando por bastantes años. Realmente, gracias, Anita, por todos los conocimientos compartidos y por la calidad de persona que sé que eres, y yo y todos los que te conocemos damos fe de ello. Muchísimas gracias de parte de toda la comunidad English Teachers in Peru.
gracias a ustedes, Mariela. Yo le tengo un cariño especial a los colegas, ¿no? A los champion teachers. Tú fuiste de la primera generación de champion teachers con los que viajamos a ETiP en Glasgow, ¿yeah? Fuimos un grupo increíble, ¿no? Pero está Sulamita, están tantas personas que en todos esos años, desde el 2016, ¿no? Se destacaron y ahora es un sueño hecho realidad esta red, ¿no? De 17.000, es una red inmensa de profesores y que nació de un anhelo que tú el 2016, 2017 manifestaste, ¿no? De un sueño y bueno, un profesionalismo, una preparación. Yo estoy muy emocionada por poder estar en este momento con ustedes y preveo que van a haber muchos más logros, ¿no? Muchas gracias por hacerme parte.
Gracias, muchísimas gracias a ti, querida Anita. Siempre contamos contigo como parte de la comunidad. Muchísimas gracias por ello. Nos despedimos el día de hoy, entonces, todo el equipo administrativo presente, Miss Mayra Ríos Rengifo, que está por ahí, Miss Ángela Salazar, Miss Sulamita Chutén, Miss Miriam Córdoba Soto, Teacher José Ortega, que está detrás de toda la transmisión, nuestra excelente ponente Miss Ana María Hurtado, y mi persona, Mariela Condorena. Bye bye, teachers.